Tofu has been a staple of Chinese cuisine, a humble yet versatile food, rich in history and nutrition. From the bustling street markets of Beijing to the quiet monasteries of Buddhist monks, tofu has nourished generations. But few know that this simple bean curd once stood at the heart of a great controversy. There was a time, long ago, when tofu, now celebrated for its purity, was seen as a dangerous, even unholy food. A food so disruptive that it was almost banned from Chinese society altogether. The story of tofu begins over 2,000 years ago during the Han Dynasty, 206 BCE, 220 CE. Legend credits its invention to Prince Liu An, a nobleman and scholar obsessed with the secrets of longevity. According to ancient texts, Liu An was experimenting with ways to refine soybeans into something easily digestible, believing they held the key to a long and healthy life. His discovery, curdling soy milk with salt or gypsum, created a soft, delicate substance that would one day be known as tofu. At first, tofu was a rare delicacy, enjoyed primarily by the elite. The imperial court marveled at its smooth texture, likening it to jade, and Chinese poets described it as clouds in a bowl. Yet, as the method of making tofu spread, its affordability and high protein content made it popular among commoners. It was precisely tofu's accessibility that would soon spark controversy. In ancient China, food was more than sustenance. It was a reflection of the natural order, the Confucian hierarchy that governed society. The elite dined on rich meats, lavish seafood, and exquisite delicacies, while the poor subsisted on grains and vegetables. Tofu, however, blurred these boundaries. It was a food that mimicked the texture of meat, but was cheap enough for peasants to consume. This deeply unsettled the ruling class. Confucian scholars warned that such disruptions could lead to disorder. After all, if peasants could enjoy a food that replaced meat, what would stop them from desiring other luxuries reserved for the aristocracy? Some officials feared that tofu would embolden the lower classes, weakening the rigid distinctions that held society together. During the Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907 CE, another controversy began to take shape. By this time, Buddhism had spread throughout China, bringing with it a belief in vegetarianism. Many Buddhist monks adopted tofu as their primary source of protein, referring to it as the meat of the fields. They saw it not only as a nourishing food, but as a moral alternative to consuming animals. This alarmed Confucian scholars, who believed that eating meat was essential to maintaining vitality, strength, and even masculinity. Meat consumption was tied to power, and to reject it was seen as an act of defiance against the natural order. Confucian thinkers warned that a nation fed on tofu would become weak, lacking the aggressive spirit needed to defend itself. Even medical texts of the time reflected this anxiety. Some physicians began claiming that excessive tofu consumption could drain a man's energy, making him frail, infertile, or even less intelligent. Tofu was no longer just a food. It had become a political and philosophical battleground. But there was yet another reason tofu faced opposition, one rooted in the ancient fear of alchemy. Tofu was unlike any other food. It was neither grain nor vegetable, neither solid nor liquid. It transformed from a simple soybean into something entirely new through a mysterious curdling process. In a time when alchemists sought to turn base metals into gold and create the elixir of immortality, tofu's transformation was seen as unsettling, even unnatural. To some, it was a food born of sorcery. Rumors spread that tofu was not a gift from the gods, but an aberration of nature. Some superstitious officials feared that consuming too much of it might lead to illness, spiritual impurity, or even madness. For a brief period, local bans on tofu were proposed in certain regions, particularly in areas where Confucian scholars held significant influence. Though these bans were never enforced on a national level, they reflected a growing unease with this strange and rebellious food. Despite its detractors, tofu endured. The spread of Buddhism ensured its place in Chinese cuisine as more people embraced vegetarianism. Over time, its reputation shifted from a food of suspicion to one of virtue. By the Song dynasty, 960 to 1279 CE, tofu had firmly secured its place at all levels of society, from monks and scholars to merchants and emperors. Ming dynasty, 1368 to 1644. Physicians later praised tofu for its health benefits, calling it a food of balance, capable of harmonizing the body's energies. Even Confucian scholars, once opposed to tofu, began to accept its role in a well-ordered diet. What was once feared as a disruptive, mystical food had become an inseparable part of Chinese culinary tradition. Today, tofu is celebrated worldwide. It is a symbol of health, sustainability, and culinary versatility. But its history, one of suspicion, controversy, and near prohibition, remains largely forgotten. The very qualities that made tofu controversial in ancient China, its ability to challenge social norms, its role in vegetarianism, and its strange alchemical transformation, are now the reasons it is revered. If you want to learn more about interesting food histories, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.